Hello, hola.
You good? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is not out of the ordinary. Yeah, it's the glitches in the matrix. That's what it's got to be. Just glitch in
Mm-hmm.
the matrix. Just us breaking it down. All right, now we got to give him a couple of minutes to get back in here.
Okay.
There was quite a few people in, and they got knocked off. All right. So we've had a few problems with, not problems, but glitches with Be Live TV. So, being that this is I don't know. Oh, we're live, right? We're already live. Okay. All right. We got 12 people in the house. Had a rough start this morning. Okay. Hello, Evie, Anastazati, Jenny Smith, Elfie Shantz, Carl Streiner, Kristen Nagel, Terry Doro, Kelly Bird, Rita Gullifson from Norway, Jenny's from Idaho, Mira Ginsburg's in the house, Margan Skirping's in the house, also from Norway. Duncan Alexander says take two. Yeah, this is take two. Special show with my brother here. He's been on quite a few times. He's always got some great intel. Some of you who don't know him, some of you may not know me. There's two people here that are new. My name's Todd Medina. This is Soul Speaks 5D. This is a primary show on the Soulogy.One network. Today we have my friend Juan Jose Vallejo Ci from Spain is with us. He's been out there for many, many years, putting up intel real time, angelic, galactic, with his unique style and communion. So welcome back to the show,
Thank you,
Juan.
Todd.
Good to see you. It's good to see you. How the
I,
energies treating you? Are
excuse
you?
me?
How are the energies treating you? You look like you're doing pretty good. I'm going through a lot of physical aches and pains. Other than that, I have not too many complaints. But you have a big smile on your face, so you must be doing okay.
Well, that is not really the energies and the convergence of everything and the realities is quite contradictory, but we keep the spirit high and the vibrations, and that is what it's all about.
Yeah.
And of course, there are a lot of obstacles and there are a lot of obstructions in all the energy flow. But that is the bar that we have to spring, and that is how we ascend to our universal consciousness. So the path is not a way of roses, and, but the spirit has to be kept high, and that is, I think, the lesson that we are learning, returning to our original and natural state of being on our Mother Earth, grounded.
Yeah.
I'm perceiving all what is flowing from the universe and all the communications and the important information that we get from every soul who is here in these sacred missions, and that we all make the big picture bigger, and we all contribute with our energies to awake other people. Meanwhile, we are awakening also ourselves. So that is, I think, something primordial and at the moment. And for that reasons, we should be happy to be here. It is a
Yeah.
unique moment in human history.
Yeah.
It is not easy, but that is what is giving us the divine blueprint that is coming from our information in our from our souls, and in the way that we are just spreading and transmitting this information, we can be happy because we are advancing. It's not quick, but
Yeah.
every step counts, and everybody has so far a loving intention, and that is what give us
Yeah.
the power. The loving intention is very important.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
that is very important. I think that really is important, especially when judgment seems to be fading away. Judgment, self deprecation, self sabotage. You know, all these lower level vibrations that translate into our outer experience, and as we interact with people. But it seems like that type of thought vibration, judgment, or whatever it may be, it doesn't stay with us anymore. It's not allowed to stay with us. It's not going to stay with us. It's just what it seems like. I was going to ask you, over the past month or so, a lot of people have talked about being on both extremes of the spectrum, like
Yeah.
like their connection with light, with source, with God, goddess, whatever you want to call it, has been expanding rapidly, but at the same time, they're either watching and or experiencing, observing, or actually living
Mhm.
in this old paradigm with these old patterns, and they're observing them from a different point of view. Can you add anything to that?
There is a confluence of different dimensions in one reality. So that is the perception of the realities is different, and of course we are gaining more quantum perception of the realities, and that is what is giving us also different views. I hear often about judgment, and I think that, for example, in the that is of course an English term. I have to learn this language to bring the message. For me, it should be more easier to talk in Spanish. But judgment is necessary. I think that when you look at the dictionary about judgment, has different several acceptions. So I think that people is afraid about judgment for any reason. When I consider from my point of view, judgment is a necessary point as diagnose the situation, assess, of analyze, discernment. That is, in my opinion, necessary. That is what we are doing when we walk or when we drive a car. We are judging. And I think that, for example, here in Spain, at the age of 18 years old, more or less, people get what you talk in, you say in the English culture, the teeth of the wisdom teeth. We
Oh,
call them
wisdom teeth.
the wisdom teeth. We call them the teeth of judgment. And
Mm.
in our culture, judgment means maturity, because these teeth are growing in the moment that we get kind of maturity in our life, 18 years old. And that may be also in the language different kind of perceptions about this kind of words. So I have been listening to many people about judgment like a kind of preoccupation of the energies. But I think that what we are meaning in this perception of the different dimensions is more like labeling. I think that we are indeed recovering from the energies. We know that
Mhm.
emotions and human energies in motion, and when this world has been influenced by the energies spread 2,000 years ago from the time of the Pharisee, the Roman Empire, and the King Herod. That is a point that is a big reference. And those people were judged in the way that they considered themselves superior. The Roman Rome was superior culture, and they gave themselves the opportunity to invade other cultures because they found the same superior. So that is, for me, a kind of definition about judgment, and also more related to labeling, where the people is just consider themselves superior, and trying to be on top others. Um, that is, I think, the perception that we are now getting for the opposite polarity. I have explained in my comments that our civilization has grown through an ectopic pregnancy. What does it mean? An ectopic pregnancy is an ultra-uterine pregnancy in the energy level. And how can we explain this? This is just like a child, unborn child, has enough consciousness, thinking that he doesn't or she doesn't want to wait for the 9th month of pregnancy. That is the natural time that we are just in the body of our mothers. And the child pierces through the skin, through the womb of the mother, and through the skin of the mother, and is growing outside of the body of the mother. Well, that is what has happened to our civilization, and that is because 2,000 years ago, people took the decision to go their own way, ignoring the sacred parameters of creation. So that is what it brings, what you say, the two polarities, the two perceptions of the old matrix system, the old energies, the old spreading of the human emotions, made of superiority, hate, violence, all these kind of energies that humans were putting, and that they are influencing of our global reality. So what we are now getting is just back to our original and familiar and natural and universal parameters of creation, and that is bringing, of course, for many people, that dual perception. That is the perception of duality on our planet, on our civilization, just the ectopic pregnancy out of the universal parameters of creation, and that we are returning now to we are grounded on this moment. And of course, to come to these conclusions, you have to judge more in the way of the medical position. It is a kind of analysis and diagnosis of the human situation.
Yeah, there was a couple of 2-3 comments popped up, and sometimes we get lost in semantics. And when we have cultural language, and I'm not fluent enough in Spanish to explain it. But I think that there's discernment, and then there's judgment. I think the context people have been using judgment in, and most of this has been self-reflection. People are talking about in other words, not to hold someone or something lesser or above. Like even when the thought comes in, they're finding that, and I can only assume that the collective universal energy is expanded to a point, and Mother Earth to a point, that there is a greater vibration of truth, and the type of judgment that I'm talking about, which would be more of the judgment that was built into the conditioning of the human experience to look down on others and even look down on ourselves, consider ourselves small, consider somebody else small, versus, and I'm glad you brought it up, but versus also a higher level of discernment. People are making choices in their lives. They're making radical choices and getting out of a relationship, or getting into a relationship, or leaving a job, or selling their belongings and jumping in a car and going and do this and going to do that. You read about it. I read about it every day. You know, Yuki is in Peru. Stellar and Grace are going to, I think, Scotland. I mean, people are listening to the universe, the earth, and it's overriding all that lower level, a lower level chatter and histrionics and drama filled stuff that kept this illusion propelled. You brought up something really good about 2,000 years ago, and we're talking energy here always. 2,000 years ago, and you made reference to the Romans, and we all know the story. And really, from an energetic level, what's happened and why, in that that the collective has moved away for whatever reason, moved away from its connection with source, and that's kind of how this thing has rolled out. Is that's what you were getting at, right? I
Well,
mean,
that
in some way, either we were misled or tricked or whatever to
yes,
move away from divinity, which is actually from ourselves.
yeah,
And I think this is a great subject. I watch a lot of Santos Bonacci and
yeah,
a few other people, and they talk about the whole history of it. And it's fascinating
yeah,
because
absolutely.
if we're in our seat, if we're in our shoes, as I understand it, and I'm talking about really everyone that showed up here, we've jumped into a big bowl of, you know, a big bowl of crap uh, to help turn this thing around. That's what you were saying earlier. Is we all have a mission here, and it's important what we're doing because we didn't just get thrown in here or to come down here and go through what we've gone through. We came here to actually transform this and do our part to do it. Would that be correct?
We are coming here to unite. I think that this civilization has been hurt in the point of from that mindset of divide and conquer. So that is the confusion until we put all together and we unite our global mind with the universe. So the point here is that our minds are integrating and recalibrating the universal energies until we just understand the universal consciousness of the master creation, and we finally create our collective mind united. The point of 2000 years ago, this mission of the Christ energies, was from that time and divide and conquer what has just divide humanity, and that is the confusion that many people is going through until we get this balance in our mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical energies. We have to master our energies, and it is a process of purification until we understand that we are one living organism, and we are just like neurons of a global brain in a hypnosis of our quantum connection between every single human or living being on our Mother Earth, including the animals kingdom, and also the Holy Spirit of our Mother Earth. So that is something that we are recovering and we are restoring, because from that ectopic pregnancy, we are a malformation in the energy level. So it is a mutation. It is something unthinkable that an unborn child is piercing through the womb of the mother and piercing through the skin and growing out of the body of the mother in the way that is creating that duality, and that ego, unborn ego, is of course contaminated with toxic energies. So that is what has happened to our civilization, and we are returning to our global understanding, and our mind has to be just united. That is why we can see, for example, sites in the world, for example, in Turkey, and also the island of Easter Island, where the moais and the sculptures found in a site in Turkey, which let me see, Göbekli Tepe.
Yeah, Göbekli Tepe. Yeah,
And
my friend, what's his name? Hone Edmonds just went over. He's from there, but he was telling us about that. He's actually going to do a tour with a group. I don't know if you saw that show, but he's actually putting together a group. I think of like 25, 30 people. They're going to go on a tour or a pilgrimage over there, retreat this year.
It is very important that people reconnect with these sacred sites, because they are ancient and they were built for a purpose, a circular construction, and the sculptures found there are just having, for example, the hands and the foresight, like the Moais in the Easter Island with the long fingers, just below the belly, you know. So how is possible that in Gobekli Tepe, the totems that are of a stone found there, they have the same form and structure of the Moais found in the Easter Island? That is because in one time of our history, the grid of the ley lines was connected. So humans could on that time connect telepathically, and that is also what we find in the stones, in the way that they are building in Egypt, some temples, and they are the same stones and the same way and the same constructions to avoid earthquakes that they are found in Machu Picchu of Cuzco in Peru. How is that possible? So that is only possible because we have had here on this planet a global mind who was connected at the time, and the people was able to communicate in a hypnosis in the brains, that the brains in the fractal structure were like single neurons connecting and transmitting information. So that was our integrity, that was our cosmic truth. And in the way that we were missing that connection, and some people was working in the divide and conquer, what we have become, if you ask me, this is not an insult, it's a mediocre civilization, because we have lost our divine truth to these lies and confusion. So what we are recovering is now our mental, our cosmic mind, our cosmic logics, our human wisdom, our universal intelligence, our divine consciousness. And that is what we are trying to connect ourselves in this quantum connection between ourselves and with the universal source and our galactic families, of course, that they are coming here already in purified energies.
Well, you know, that stuff is really interesting to me. It's really interesting to me to look at the age of these structures, what they'll let out anyway, what's been put out publicly. And then you have these very interesting, what we would consider anomalies, we would consider mysteries. You know, if you look at the pyramid, the Great Pyramid, they've never found a burial tomb in the Great Pyramid. They've also never found any hieroglyphics in the Great Pyramid. And then in the hieroglyphics that you find in the caves and the ruins and such, there's no drawing of the pyramids. So, you know, the complexity of our history is absolutely mind-blowing, but it certainly covers millions and millions of years. And if you look at it from the anthropology aspect, and some of the other sciences, linguistics and stuff like that, you'll see that there is a huge gap. You know, there's just like civilization would go on, and then all of a sudden it would drop to nothing. You know, and there's of course the deluge, the great flood, different things like that. They're in all the different primitive religions and oral histories and such. But it's an amazing journey to me, as I receive it, that the human hybrid soul has persevered. That it truly is a revolutionary. That what you brought up at the beginning of the show, intention. You know, what I was getting to about the intention is, you know, if we walk by somebody and we step on their foot, that's accident. You know, it's a different thing I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is the work you do, the work I do, the work others do, the work of people. And there's no separation here. It's just coming into the awareness that we're on a mission here, that we're a special team of souls. This is a special place. It's a special time. And when we start to take that in and align with our own mission, even though we're not perfect yet, our intentions from the heart are, and those
Yeah,
are not going to go left unanswered. And I think that's what I was getting at, really, in a nutshell, is that the universal energies are cooperating with us like they never had before, like it never
yeah.
has before, and that's exciting and amazing. Yeah,
Yeah, well, that is absolutely how it works. That is the universal polarity, and in the way that we are opening the portals, like we have been seeing the four portals, 333 in March
yeah,
2019, that creates the 9999 energy of completion, and that is meant for humanity to come through these portals spiritually purified. So that is what the universe is inviting humanity to grow anytime in purity, to allow the universe, the source, to communicate with us. It is a dialogue with the universe and between ourselves in that synapses of our brains communicating telepathically at the moment between people who are close to our souls or to our hearts or our minds, and they are happening really clear miracles, and they are from our singularity, unique experiences. We are contributing all to form this big image of our universal mind, and that is
yeah,
what at the time we lost with this lie, and when we put an ox through the field, we are disrespecting ourselves. And those people who are putting oxes, also even in the family of light, well, that is confusing the people. In that gap of confusion, uh, people is just bringing this kind of oxes, and we have to purify those energies by judgment. And that
yeah,
is a judgment meant not to declare something guilty and to apply a penalty. That is what the people was afraid here, because the final judgment and the moment of truth was making um, the onshore mind with that conscious problem, just afraid of that kind of situation. The cosmos is not judging from the point of view of the judge, declaring humanity guilty of something and applying a penalty. It is a diagnosis of our energetic situation, and that is the conclusion of the. You have to give a conclusion. If you are a cosmic healer, you have to bring an energy for humans to understand what has happened to us, to apply a correction to heal the energy. So, and it doesn't mean that many people say, you say that, then it's what is coming from you, you know. And when we go to the doctor, I have explained this many times, but takes time for the people to acknowledge and allocate this information. When you go to the doctor with a flu or whatsoever, and the doctor say, "Oh, you have a flu," after an analyze or whatsoever, you are low in iron in your blood, and you have to take more of this product of the other. It doesn't mean that the doctor is sick. The doctor is the one who is healing, but doesn't mean that the doctor is having this problem. So it is a kind of a competition anytime for people. When they hear these kind of things, they think this is judgment. It's not judgment in the point of view of penalty and guilt. And some people who are feeling judged probably is because they are feeling guilty or something. But the cosmic healer has the obligation and the responsibility to explain to the people, and in this case to humanity, what has happened to our civilization and why we have been involved in all this confusion and these energies that we have been lying ourselves. And that is the
right.
and that is the situation when we speak the truth with 100% integrity. It is when we allocate and all the energies converge in the point that we understand what has happening to us, and we can work collectively to heal our energies. Meanwhile, we are swinging, between this confusion that is not allowing us to put the feet on the ground and to ground to the spirit of our Mother Earth. Why are our Native Americans, for example, giving us a clear perception of the protection of the land and the protection of the water? Because they are grounded. When the Western societies have been grown, influenced by the energies of the Romans, the Pharisees with the money, and the King Herod, he was an usurper, wasn't a king at all. It was somebody who took that position. They have spread these negative energies, influencing the collective. So what we need to understand is that we are quantum connected, and every lie that we spread, or every hoax that is put in the field, is affecting all of us. And those who are with the intention to lie, that lie is coming at the end of the time back to them. So because they are disrespecting themselves, and that is what we have to understand, the universal truth of our existence, and why we have been going through this energetic chaos. And that is the point that I think that we have to converge in our minds, and this to heal our energies. We are coming from egos, the spermatozoid and the ovum, the feminine ovum and the masculine spermatozoid. They are genetic loaded cells with the mission to unite to create life. So that is the natural course of the universe. That is the natural flow of the universe. We have to unite our living cells of the global organism of our Mother Earth to unite our energies. There is this antagonist position, this opposition is just disturbing the whole process of recovery. So that has to come a moment when people is committed with a loving intention, loving thoughts and words and actions to recover the divine structure of our civilization. That is the way that we were created. We were not created to fight against each other, and the universe gets nothing from wars. So wars, evil, demons, those are only local, disconnected and ungrounded ego mind projections, and
Well, I think there can be a case. I think there can be a case for that same dark. Let's just use the term dark and light, soul and ego. I think there can be a case made for the fact that that isn't just something going on here. Anyone who's had any experience with, let's just say, the other side of the veil, anyone who's had experience or memories of the galactic wars, okay, there's some element, just like we need to discern, we need to use the word the way you were using it, we need to make a judgment about interactions we have with non-physical energy, okay,
yeah.
with higher dimensional energy. They have ego too. They're fighting too. There's a degree of separation there. There wouldn't be galactic wars and the history we've had in this universe, particularly this solar system. But my point is this. My point is this: when it comes back to the word judgment, I'm really using it as self-judgment, because that's where it all starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Our role here is far greater than just uniting the earth. Our efforts affect all dimensions, all lineage, forward, backwards, parallel, and that includes what we might call our past galactic war history. Okay? We We are here as universal soldiers, not just healing the human being species, not just helping to heal Mother Earth. Also, it goes bigger than that. The solar system, the universe. We are healing the wounded Pleiadian in our DNA, the wounded reptilian, the wounded victim, the wounded victimizer, all of the different aspects of the universal energies that have made up Mother Earth, star families, elementals, atrocities, successes, failures, all of these things compounded into our mission here. And I just think that regardless of how this happened, the realization that the importance of our mission is an expansion that is beginning within ourselves. But this is what you're talking about in serving the collective is there's a direct relationship between the expansion I have within myself, which means an expansion of love and courage and wisdom and action and whatever else comes with it. This is our greatest contribution, and it's far greater than what we might think. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, of course. I respect everybody's opinion, but for me, does not resonate the galactic wars. I think nobody can travel interdimensional with a bad intention, because that is too low energy, and that is just in contradiction with our ascension here. We are just getting the information and the contact with the universe, as long as we are becoming peaceful civilization. Otherwise, we don't get the ascension key. There have been in the what we have been doing last year during 2018 is purify the mental body, the physical body, and mental, physical, emotional body, and the causal body around our Mother Earth. And our galactic families, like firefighters, they come here to fight against the fire, not against the inhabitants of the house. There are also children that they say that they have to take the burden to tell the truth to this world, and they are preoccupied because the house is on fire. And that is a reality. I think that what is happening here after 520 nuclear detonations on the skin of our Mother Earth, that is creating millions of degrees that they were affecting the ozone layer. But that is not all. Why? Because our Native American brothers and sisters are not the ones throwing the nuclear nukes on the skin of our Mother Earth. Not the Aboriginals, not the people from the Tibet of the Palestinians who are throwing those nukes on the skin of our Mother Earth. That is bringing a lot of devastation. And that is something that we have to consider, that some people is trying to hide themselves of what they have been doing on the skin of our Mother Earth, on our civilization, that they are not reptilians, those are not Draco-Sumerians, those are not archons of draconians. Come on with the hoaxes, man. I don't think...
Who are they? Who are they?
They know I'm not going to point at them, but we know.
I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, and I'm not one to get caught up in the story, but I'm one here to give the human race more credit. And we've taken enough beatings and enough blame, and we got to get past even the point of forgiveness, other than for those you might be referring to. But my point is this: how do we know that who we think is running the Vatican is running the Vatican? How do we know who's really behind the U.S. government? How do we know what happened to the Nazis after World War II when they supposedly lost the war? Yeah. How do we know what lies beyond Antarctica? How do we know all these things? I look at what we're doing, how we've done it, what we've come to. I don't know who to point the finger at if there's a finger to be pointed. We can talk about the Nephilim. We can talk about the Watchers, the lesser gods who mated with, who had intercourse with the human women. I mean, I don't know. I don't even care anymore. All I care about is expanding and really trying to understand what our opportunity is, because I know our opportunity isn't to remain carbon-based human biological bodies that expire and become worm dirt when we're done. We're spiritual beings that is actually integrating into a physical body. This is the big time. This is where, you know, supernatural things, we might call it from the human perspective, begin to happen from a human body.
Beautiful.
And these things that to me are going to, like the telepathy you're talking about, that are going to change this world in an instant. I don't see 10 years from now and 20 years from now some people talking about that. And nothing wrong with what they resonate with and what they receive, but everything is a metaphor. Everything is a metaphor. We're creating this new template and new good book based on what we do from here. Not what's been done to us, not what we've done in the past, but what we do from this moment on, you know?
The past is a lesson to learn for the people, and to understand what has happened to, and to recover and to return to our natural, original, familiar, and universal state of divine consciousness. That is finally the loving intention. And of course, there is a reality that is shown for this, let's say, soft awakening. And of course, the things could go quicker, but I think that we are learning patience to take decision according to the resonance with the universal source and the protection of the Holy Spirit of our Mother Earth. And that is really what our universal mind has to converge from all the world leaders and whoever are in charge on this moment, because I'm also having a personal situation, and the reality that I am living just says to me enough. But everybody has their own singularity, everybody has their own experience, and according to that experience we are just making conclusions. So this is for every one of us to contribute with the best energies that we can bring into the world. And when we all have that clear 100% integrity intention, that is going to change absolutely the reality of our planet, and that is unity. And I think, of course, we have people from we have souls and angels from Andromeda. I have been able to talk with people from Andromeda, and they are telling incredible things of their galaxy, you know, and the clarity of the information that they bring is overwhelming. Of course, very possible our DNA is created from other galactic family, Arcturians and Pleiadians and Sirians, etc. And they are trying to cover our evolution as far as we understand what it means: unconditional peace, unconditional truth, unconditional love, and universal freedom. And that is the joy of our journey. We have a journey where we return to the universal consciousness, and that is the choice of the emotions, the energies, emotions that we put on the world. So meanwhile, there is somebody who is afraid of judgment with punishment, and this kind of situation, these hoaxes are not resonating in the universal field of unified energy.
I got to believe that anything that's not the truth is not going to sustain itself.
No, of course not.
And that includes any world leader getting in front of us and lying to us in regard to what narrative they want us to believe. Propaganda will not last. None of this stuff will last. I want to ask you in particular, before we get off, I want to ask you about April.
Yeah.
About 3 or 4 days ago, Morgan said something to me about something's happened on April 15th.
Yeah.
And I don't usually stick with this, but that date kept staying in my head. I talked to you a little bit more last night, and I did some research. And I did some research in the field, and I can't remember who I found it through. I found it through either Jordan Maxwell or Santos Bonacci or somebody else. It was a book. It was an audio of a book, and it was talking about astrotheology. Now, in regard to the stars, how the stars do the same thing all the time. There's some type of significance there, some type of overlay there. Maybe it was some type of book in the sky to keep us on track or give us something, right? I don't really know. But the thing I found really interesting about this date was that there is a precession of the sun through the tropics, like the Tropic of Cancer, and also through the planetary bodies. And as it makes this procession or marches through this field of the cosmos, it forms a figure eight. I think one starts with one equinox and one ends with another equinox or something like that. But the really interesting thing that I found, whether it's accurate, whether it's propaganda, I don't know. But if it was, it would have to be thousands and thousands and thousands of years old. This precession of the sun makes a infinity sign. In the center of that infinity sign is April the 15th.
Okay.
On one end of it is December the 25th, which is Jesus Christ's birthday. Based on, and on the other end of it, I believe it was August the 29th, which is John the Baptist's birthday. And there went on to be some more correlations and things. And because of the fact that there seems to be a pattern based on the stars, if you go back to the Dogons, you go back to the Aborigines, go back to whatever, that seems to be the number one guidebook or whatever you want to call it. Is there, and not to mention too, April is the month of the resurrection. From an energetic standpoint, that's a very powerful thing. You know, if I look back at the last two Easters, they were extremely powerful and uplifting. What do you think is going to happen in April? What comments can you add to any of that?
Well, the Christ consciousness and spirit is humanity. There is no one. You have a forerunner of the forerunners. We have initiated the path, but at the end, it is humanity, Christ. Christ is humanity, but united in one a global resurrection of energy. So I believe that this has to happen. We are ascending through echoes that come from previous years, and every year we have an intensity of the manifestation of the energies, as long as we are just removing these lies and hoaxes, because they are disrespecting the whole. They are disrespecting humanity, and that is what I try to say. That if anybody has the intention to put more of these hoaxes of lies in that field, I suggested them from the bottom of my heart that they stop to do these kind of things, that they do not resonate, because these lies are not only disrespecting the whole, but that they are disrespecting themselves. I invite people from the core of Mother Earth and on the source to embrace the universal truth that we can create a universal mind, that we can work as a united team on this planet, and that there are solutions for everybody, and we can transcend, we can transform our civilization into a cosmic energy. And of course, this next Easter, the energies are increasing. Every year, the energies are increasing, and the intensify of this magnification of our human energies connected to the universal energies are balancing the level of the spirit. We were low spirited on this planet through this confusion from the lies brought by some people 2,000 years ago. So Christ consciousness and spirit is bringing this reconciliation with ourselves in universal truth, 100% integrity. This is something that I'm keeping saying. And meanwhile that we are going to this path, the manifestations, what you have been telling about the sun making the infinite of the sun, and in the center is the 15. I believe that the universe is willing to bring our civilization to the point when we can experience divine energies, that they are convincing ourselves of our uh, full potential.
Yeah.
As human beings connected to the universe, and that is something that the universe can do only if we also have a high speed level, high vibration, and a pure loving intention in our thoughts, our words, and our actions. And that is when we are just connecting fully with the master creation. That is for me something clear. And people say that they were wars. For me, that does not resonate. But I don't want to say that I am right. But it does not resonate that they were galactic wars.
That there were galactic wars.
That is something. The other day I was seeing about the Draco Sumerians, and sometimes I have to laugh with myself because where is that coming from? And you see, for example, first were the reptilians. Later were, for example, somebody of the family of light was telling about a man with his cousin of his uncle millions of years ago, that they are coming here to enslave humankind, to bring, to steal the gold from us, and
that's the old Anunnaki story. Yeah,
the Anunnaki story. But they are for me, it is default immediately that information, because they were so intelligent that they came here to corrupt the sacred creation of the master creation of the universe. They were so clever to come in interdimensional, lying to the creator, to enslave humanity, but they forgot in 3 million years to corrupt our Native American brothers and sisters. So what is the people telling? At the end of the day, all those hoaxes, they fall from their own low density. That is just the local mind making this kind of confusion for people. And
it could be, and it could be true. I mean, we're all carrying different pieces of the puzzle. I have memories of galactic wars. I didn't ask for them.
Okay. Well,
I know other people that have, but I'm with you. I don't think we need to be stuck on the story anymore. If you look at the parallel in all the stories, whether they be religious, whether they be from, like the Sumerians, the Phoenicians, the Dogons, the story's pretty much the same. Somebody came down here, like elders or whatever you want to call it, and had a wider awareness, greater technology, greater abilities or whatever, and took advantage of the situation. But it doesn't really matter. It doesn't matter how we got here. It doesn't matter who you're channeling, what downloads you're getting, what you're transmitting. What matters is, to me and you, our brothers and sisters. I don't trust Trump. I don't trust the Vatican. I don't trust light worker websites. I don't trust anything but a conversation between me and one of my brothers and sisters, or plural, a bunch of people telling about their experiences, respecting their experiences. I was in galactic wars. I remember this. I don't remember that. I was an indigenous. I started as a rock. I started as a one-cell animal. This is what I remember. All of us have the ability to contribute to this expanding field of consciousness we call Mother Earth by simply stating our truth without judgment, with mutual respect, because I have to say, none of us have the answers, and we have to respect everybody's reality. And we have spent 5,000 years telling people they're crazy, putting them in mental asylums, treating them with pills and shock treatment, and opening their brain and surgery because they had a window into the other side. We have to respect our multidimensional, individual, fractal experience, because each one of us, if that's right, is a fractal. Each one of us has our own lineage. Ultimately, we go back to the one, but it's somebody says, I sure do trust the Trump team. This is not a political thing. I'm just saying someone or something has had control of the narrative for so long, with so much advanced esoteric knowledge, knowing what was going to happen. All you got to do is research it. Why would I believe anyone on the world stage today? Because if somebody was on the world stage today that really had the power, that really owned their divinity, and really cared enough, they would say, this is what's been going on. And at the risk of physical death, I'm going to tell you, this is what's been going on. And I don't see anybody doing that. I don't see anybody doing it.
Well, I think that we need time and patience, and hopefully the universe is giving us the signs that they are convincing and removing all the confusion. And of course, everyone is a singularity, unique perception. And from the readings and the quantum perception that I get, that is my experience, and everybody should remember in the soul what they remember, and all has to be respected. But meanwhile, there is this opposition of this antagonic view of the universe. We are just if there were ever wars on the universe, we are here co-creators of the universe, and we have now the opportunity to close that page in the universal history of the human history, and to make an unconditional peace on our planet. That is the intention of this conversation. And to those who are just obtaining great benefits of selling weapons, of create wars, that in this universal galactic flight, we don't need weapons, we don't need toxins, we don't need this kind of altering the unified field of energies. That is what from the spirit is being downloaded, and that is the message that I want to bring here for the people who listen. With many thanks for your time. That is the universe gets nothing from wars, and I don't know. For me, it is a local interest, because that is the way that mediocrities continue to measure themselves with this conflict against the master creation, and that is something that master father of humanity Albert Einstein was nailing perfectly, and he said that the great spirits always encountered violent opposition from the mediocre mind. So that is not something that I say, that Albert Einstein is an
well, I understand that, but I also understand everything is a metaphor, and we're talking energy here. So whatever visions I've received, or anybody else, in regard to something like that, could simply be a visual of polarities, of two poles, positive and negative. I mean, this is the way of the universe, is electrical, magnetic, and vibrational, and all that stuff. But I was going to ask you. So it seems to be that this whole trip, that we're conscious here. You're Juan, I'm Todd, right? And there's a very physical part of the experience. And over the last few years, there's become a very non-physical part of the personal experience in this transition we call ascension, awakening, whatever. It seems to me that every bit of this is about bringing in polarities into the middle, what we might call truth and not true into the middle, what we might call right and wrong, and so on. So my last question to you is, how do we as an individual make the greatest contribution to the collective expansion of this earth, of this solar system, of the multiverse in this space and time? How do we make the greatest contribution to the collective energy, to the mission?
Aligning, balancing, centering, and stabilizing the polarity. We all are masculine and feminine, positive, negative, electric and magnetic, and that the universal polarity is not in antagonist energetic situation. It is both are sacred energies like masculine and feminine to create life, consciousness, love, peace. So that is the contribution by aligning ourselves to the divine consciousness and the cosmic logics and the human wisdom and the universal intelligence. And that is a clear message from the source, and that has been also told from other prophets before, like Moses, who said, don't kill, don't steal, don't lie. So if we keep our civilization making the opposite, because there is an antagonist movement of energies who don't want to integrate the cosmic energies on our planet, our civilization will never get the light body, because we are not aligned in a universal mind where we can ascend to our higher dimensions and our higher light bodies. Of course, some people is getting that, but we are talking about the collective. And that is an orchestra, you know. You have to imagine an orchestra. If they are playing in harmony, it is very easy to break the situation by making noise. You only need one guy in a theater of an auditorium making noise to break all the harmony of one orchestra who were training. So destroy is very easy. To make music is the more difficult thing, and we are all sacred instruments with the potential to play in harmony the infinite melodies of the divine symphony of creation. And meanwhile, it's people making noises with lies of oxes. The whole harmony of the auditorium that is our Mother Earth is being disturbed. And when people understand this point, this is the resonance of our harmonic resonance in the universe. Meanwhile, there is somebody making noise. We cannot get our high vibrations and our collective harmony, and that has to be something clear for everybody here on this planet.
If we're listening to them, and if we're focusing on them, and if it's not something that resonates with us, and we don't let it go, we're just part of the problem there. We're just part of the reason that it's expanding. I get what you're saying. You bring up lies and hoaxes a lot, those words, and I don't know. I just feel I don't know. I feel like it's time we all, every single person on the earth, you know, acknowledges within themselves, recognizes within themselves, embraces who we are, what we are, and start to, instead of taking a beating, because the biggest beatings we take are the ones we take from ourselves, especially the ones we don't want to admit to ourselves. And so what I'm getting at is we deserve some credit now. Something's changed this year. Enough of the ass whoopings, enough of getting beat up, enough of beating up each other. It's time to do what you said, play your instrument in this heavenly orchestra, and let's make some music together, and not be so focused on those things that we needed to come to terms with in order to get to this point, which is whatever history, whatever propaganda. The universe makes no mistakes, and anything that was put before us, whether it was truth or not truth, it was meant to take us to another level. And I think, like you said, the past is where we learn from, but we're in the present now. We're creating a future, And I would argue to say that we're actually creating the past or recreating the past by the things that we're doing in our lives today. So I appreciate your time. I'm
Yeah.
sorry we went over.
Thank you.
But
Totally.
it's very cool. Always good to get with you. I did not know 4/4 was going to be such a powerful day. But I'm glad we did it on this day because it's a good way to start the day. I appreciate you, brother. You take care.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for coming in. We'll do it again.
Blessings.